everyone, welcome to another episode of Bronson's Soapbox, where this week I'm going to talk about VR. A lot of price information about VR devices has come out. The Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive, and the PlayStation VR, along with the price of these systems and what kind of games are going to be on them and things of that nature. But I think before even all that knowledge, there needs to be some things about VR that needs to be worked out before I feel the average consumer is going to be willing to invest in it. The first of which is space. Motion controls took a lot of space. I know Kinect took a very unrealistic amount of space for anyone living in an apartment. And is VR going to be the same thing? I know that in some cases you control these games with regular controllers, but in other cases you can control them with motion controls and cameras. I think that it's very important that Sony and HTC and Oculus goes out of their way to make it so these can be played in any space. Second off, and PlayStation's already committed to this, is making sure you can play any games on the thing. Like any game will work with VR. I realize that it's not the biggest feature in the world, especially if you have a TV already, but the option to use your headset, your at minimum, in the case of PlayStation, $400 headset, as a screen, and have it, act like a big screen, or at least trick your mind into this being a big screen TV. Like, that'd be a cool feature, and I think having every game support that would be smart. The last two, and it's the most important things when you ship any hardware, is it needs to be priced correctly, and it needs to have software, games. I remember when the PS3 came out, there was really no games for it that I wanted to buy, and no title big enough that would entice me to spend $600. And I mean, period. Like, I look back at the PS3's library, it ended up being my favorite system of that console generation, and there's maybe 2 or 3 games that would encourage me to buy a $600 system. And the same goes for this VR. Like, there needs to be a killer app. Like, there needs to be an app or a game or something that, like, you have to try this in VR. A Wii Sports. Wii Sports came out with the Wii, and it made everyone out and out go buy a Wii. VR needs a Wii Sports. Something that you can, put the headset on and be like, oh, okay, I get this. I get why this is the next step in games, or I get why this is awesome, or this is, this changes games in a way. Because the problem with it right now is I look through the libraries and stuff that's coming out on them, and, like, outside of Gran Turismo and, like, Star Wars and a couple of other games that you can kind of already play on other stuff, there's not much, like, about PlayStation VR that has me going, take my $400 plus another $40 for a PlayStation camera and Move controllers. Please, take all this. Take all this money. $400 is a lot to ask. Nintendo back in the day was the real master of this. In the Super Nintendo and the original Nintendo the first system came packed in with Duck Hunt, The Gun, and Mario. The Super Nintendo came packed in with Mario, and Microsoft recently has been packing their games in with what would be considered killer apps. And I think that this hardware is going to need that. Like, it's going to need a revolutionary game, a Super Mario Bros., a Super Mario World, a Wii Sports, a Sonic the Hedgehog 2, or Sonic the Hedgehog, something that is packed in with the system that sells systems. Because without it, it's just like, it's $400 of like, oh, that was cool. Like, it's a $400 novelty. And $400 is the cheapest one with PlayStation VR. It goes way higher when you look at the other ones. Personally, what I would, and even then, I think that like, I go back to the price point earlier, I think the hardware is too expensive. I think that if they're smart, $400 is the most they can charge. I think, like, realistically, the only one of these that is going to be a product that even has a chance to me like a chance of doing well as PlayStation VR, and that's because it's the cheapest and it actually has like publishers lined up to make real games for it. I don't think the Oculus or the Vive stand a chance unless they have drastic price cuts with real games coming to them. Because PlayStation at least does have Star Wars and Gran Turismo and Until Dawn and a couple other weird things mixed in there. But like they need a revolutionary game though. Like they need a game that's like this is why this hardware is important. Because without that, you end up with the like a Vita, which it's this really cool hardware that was doing neat things, but no one bought it. Or software pushes hardware. Software pushes hardware 99.9% of the time. Yeah, you can find outliers where there wasn't a killer application, but for something like this, especially at its price, like you need a killer app. Um, because the Wii was an easy sell because like they saw Wii Sports and that was a killer app. Plus, it was cheap. This like there needs to be a game at launch or near launch that when you try it out on PlayStation VR or Vive or Oculus, that you go, oh shit, this is a game changer. This is a Mario 64. I need this in my house. Anyway, sorry for the short show this week, everyone. That's pretty much all I have to say on it. I've had very limited experience with VR. I'm looking forward to trying some of it. And I hope it does turn out to be the next big thing where we're all playing games with these fucking headsets on our face. And, I sound like an idiot right now. But right now, I'm just not sold. Like, it's this thing where it's expensive technology, it's new technology, there's very little software, and, like, they're trying to ram it down our throat but no one seems to care. So anyway, I'll be back next week with the show. You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thegameraccess, Twitter at thegameraccess, and Facebook by looking up thegameraccess.com. On our Twitch page, there's a donate button. Please feel free to donate any money whatsoever. It helps fund capture cards. It helps fund microphones. It helps travel. It keeps the lights on, things like that. Any donations are very much appreciated. And if you feel, leave a note. We'll do our best to get back to you and tell you how thankful we are. So I'll talk to you all next week.